Hi everyone. While you're starting with your summer internships, you need to understand that there is one thing which is of utmost importance, and that is planning the 2 months that you have at hand. I don't see it as 2 months, but what I see it as is 8 weeks that I have in my hand, in which I have to understand the company, I have to understand my division, I have to understand my project, build a good rapport with my buddies, with my guide, with the person who will actually be taking my review. And at the same time, I have to be innovative enough to come up with the solution the company is seeking. Isn't that a lot of things that you're required to be done in the 8 weeks time? Let me help you plan your 8 weeks so that you do not miss out on any opportunity which you could have had you been planning the internship from day one. So in today's video, I will be talking about your first month of summer internship, what you ought to do right from day one till your mid review. There's a separate video on my channel on acing the mid reviews, so do not forget to watch it after watching this one. Before we move ahead, I just want to say that if you're coming to my channel for the first time, then show some love by liking this video and subscribing to my channel right away. So I am going to start with what I did during my summer internship, and this is how my first month looked like. So just for those who do not know, I got a pre-placement offer and I became the first person to get placed from SIBM Pune in that year. Here is a little bit about my project. So why I'm telling you this, because I will be using some examples throughout the video so that you are on the same page as I am. So here is a little bit about my project. So it was in corporate marketing. Corporate marketing means I had nothing to do with the products and the branding, but the branding of Bajaj Auto as a whole. So there was a campaign which is called World's Favorite Indian, which was already out, and first phase was already done. I had to evaluate the impact of that phase on all the stakeholders associated with the ad. I had to also see what other competition have been doing regarding the corporate branding. And lastly, I had to come up with my own solution towards the phase two. Moving on. So as you stand on the first day of your internship, this is what you should have already done. You should have already revised all important academic concepts from your MBA. Should have learned the basics of PowerPoint presentation and MS Excel, as I have told you a lot of times in my video. You should have started reading about the automobile industry. So in my case, I am telling automobile industry because I was from Bajaj Auto. Whatever industry you belong to, you should start reading about that. You should have made first contact with your mentor. So usually before your project starts, the HR sends you an email or a contact number of the mentor. Make sure you have had your first interaction. Even if that was just an introduction, you telling that this is when your project is starting, this is the title of your project, and these are the deliverables. So your mentor should know who you are, and you should have developed a basic understanding of your project. So in your terms, in your simple terms, whatever you understand from the project, whatever you could break the deliverables into and understood through your secondary research, that level of understanding you should have. You should not go there to your mentor totally blank and just waiting for him to spoon feed you what you have to do. And if you really want to get a PPO, guys, then you have to go the extra mile. You have to start gathering information about your project. So, like in my case, when I got information, what I did was I first went into Bajaj Auto's showroom and a few competition showrooms in my hometown, and I saw that whatever corporate branding Hero, Honda, Yamaha, all these companies have, how is that reflected inside the showroom? So that was the first initial research which I did by through field visit, and that really proved very helpful for me during the 2 months time. So if you have the opportunity, if you feel that it is safe to go out and do a brief field visit, do that, and make yourself mentally ready to unlearn and relearn. Guys, this is very important, because if you're coming to the company with a preconceived notion that okay, ऐसे ही होता है काम, और let's say if I had understood कि phase 1 में TV ad आ गया, phase 2 will automatically be, let's say, social media marketing. But that is now how it goes. You should go there with an open mind, willing to learn everything which your guide or mentor wants to teach you. Now, what should you do on week one? Firstly, start with knowing your team. By team, I mean firstly your guide or mentor, your buddies. Then there are certain people who are the go-to person for anyone. So that person will have access to all the data, all the reports. Find that person in the organization. There will be one person who will be kind of an informal mentor for you, where you can simply go and discuss your stupidest doubts, your stupidest queries, and that person will not mind. So it is very important to also find that person in week one, wherein you are able to have that connection with him or her. Know the stakeholders. So in my case, since it's a corporate campaign, the stakeholders are the customers, the dealerships, because the branding will translate to the showroom as well, the service centers, the employees of the company as well. Why? Because whenever any company goes through any rebranding, there is always a change in the culture which is reflected inside the company as well. So I would also want to know what the employees feel about the new branding that the company has. So in the beginning, identify whatever internal and external stakeholders are there in your project. Know the process. Now, there is certain way in which companies operate. So let me give you an example from the marketing point of view. There are companies who like to create their own ads, who like to build the strategies, create storyboarding all on their own. But there are companies who like to outsource their marketing efforts to an agency. So you need to understand how the company works, because you do not want to spend your time doing something which ultimately could have been outsourced. So understand all these processes right in week one. Know about the pre-work done on your project. So let's say in my project, the first ad was already out. So I would want to know who was the person who conceptualized that ad, who was the person who worked on that ad. Has there any been there any any report by an external agency who evaluated that ad? Now, if my mentor says that he doesn't want me to see those reports and come up with my own thought process, and that is also fine. But you should be able to ask these questions to your mentor, because it will help you give a direction towards what kind of survey you have to create, what kind of research you are expected to do. If you're doing something which an agency has already done, then that is of no use. So in my case, the agency had already done a preliminary quantitative analysis. But I found out that not everything can be told by numbers. So I suggested to my mentor that, I want to do a qualitative analysis, to which he agreed, and I was given the permission, and I created a survey accordingly. Now here comes week two. Follow the golden circle. So you might have heard about this concept. Always start with why. So if there is a problem statement given to you, why is it given? Why is it that the company is now thinking of doing something of this sort? Always find the why. Through why, you will be able to know about the what and how. So always start with understanding why that project has been given to you. Now chalk out the research strategy with your mentor. Now what it means is, you simply cannot say that you want to interview 50 people and then you are done. What if your boss expects you to meet 100 people? What if your boss expects you to do 50 telephonic or 50 field visits? So in the beginning itself, sit with your mentor and plan out how many respondents you have to cover, what should be your sample size, where you have to find these people, what is in it exactly you're looking at. So let's say, do you have to create customer personas as well, apart from doing the qualitative analysis? If I'm, let's say, talking about the ad, apart from covering what they like or dislike about the ad, do I also have to go into the sales funnel and asking if that ad in any way is impacting their purchase decision? So whatever end results your mentor is expecting from you, that will define your methodology to do your research. So sit with your mentor and plan this out well. Very important thing. Now see if your project requires a pilot. Now at times it happens that you didn't sort this out with your mentor, and towards the end of the internship the mentor asks you, did you do any pilot? And you have no clue, and you wasted the entire 2 months, just building on the strategy without actually trying it out. Some projects do not require a pilot. In those cases, it is fine. But let your mentor decide if he expects a pilot from you or not. So always ask this question to him right when you are in the initial few weeks. Create a Gantt chart. Now, in 2 weeks' time, you're expected to know what exactly you have to do, who will be your respondents, where you will find them, a brief idea about how your survey is going to look like. Now, create milestones by sitting with your mentor. Decide that by this date, I will cover 30% respondents. By this week, I will cover 70% respondents. By this week, I will have a preliminary analysis ready. By this week my PPT will be ready, and so on. So depending on what your budget is, you have to create a timeline. Now I've just shown a sample Gantt chart which you can very easily make in MS Excel. So this is just an example. Coming to week 3, now as and when you progress, the expectations from you also keep on increasing, so keep that in mind. Here, you are expected to start with your primary research. The 2 weeks gave you an outline of what the company wants. Now, start with going on field, taking the data from the company to do calls or whatever methodology you're adopting. You should start with it now. Now, visualize a framework for the result. So, like I told you, the end result that is expected from your study, what is it going to be, how you're going to present it. So in my case, I did something which I utilized from my MBA curriculum was the aided and unaided call, the entire customer decision making journey, who are the influencers when it comes to, let's say, buying a motorcycle. So all these kind of frameworks and models which I had been studying in my MBA, I use that. So make sure if there is something which can help you, give a structure to whatever you are presenting. Because trust me, the corporates love if you are using some systematic model or framework from your MBA curriculum. They love to see that on your PPT. So if there is something which is fitting, always use it. Keep noting the insights and discussing with your mentor. Now, let's say I met 10 people. There is a common theme which is occurring in their feedback which I am getting. Now, I'll discuss with my mentor that I observed this thing, and why do you think people are doing that, or did we intentionally not include that in the ad, or something of that sort. So keep having such discussions with your mentor every week. It will also tell him that you're actually on the project and you're working very diligently, and it will also help you get his insights on whatever you are observing. And be prepared for rejection. So initially, if you're coming up with great solutions that this is what we should have done, this is what should have been happening, but your mentor will say that you know what, we already discussed this and we don't want to include that. So it could be that whatever you think is your big idea, that is not what your mentor is looking at. So be prepared for rejections. Very important tip, document everything. So I used to have a daily planner in Excel wherein I would mention what I did during that day. So if my mentor asked me what I did in the entire week, at times you might not remember. So for your own reference, you have that chart and then share that, frame an email with your mentor and share it with him. Also, don't wait for a manager to ask you what you are up to. It is better that, let's say, every Monday or every Friday, you send out a project tracker wherein you mention what you have already done in the last week and what is your plan for the current week. So, if you do these activities on your own, your manager will always appreciate. Don't spam him with him or her with every little detail that you are doing. But fixing a day in a week is definitely fine. Coming to week 4, now by week 4, 50% at least, whatever sample size you have chosen, 50% of them should be interviewed. and you should now be getting an idea as to what you are trying to find. Start putting everything on PPT for mid review. So it happened with me that even before my mid review happened, my boss just asked me for a PPT to see what I have been doing, and I was on field that day, and I didn't have time, to actually make a PPT. But what I had already been doing was I already had a rough draft kind of thing ready for my own purpose, and then I did some minor formatting, added pictures of my field visit, some recordings of my call. And just because I had done something, some basic thing, it saved my time and I was able to submit my PPT on time to my mentor. So try that, before you are ready for, don't wait for the last day when the HR gives you that you have to submit your mid-review PPT now. उससे पहले से ही start making a presentation and start putting everything together. Like I said, you should now be able to visualize those challenges through the insights that you have got. 50%, 60% respondents are enough to give you an idea as to what problem your company is fighting with. Now, you should know about the existing approach of the company for such challenges. Now, let's say if I have a broad idea, let's say that the bike is not selling. The usual go-to approach of the company in such scenario should be known to me. Now, the usual approach to boost bike sales is, let's say, having a finance or an exchange mela, which are organized at all the busy places in the town. The dealer comes up with finance schemes, discounts, exchange opportunities, and all of these things to attract the customers. Now, what the company wants is that they know that this is a traditional approach which they are supposed to adopt. How can you help them come up with an innovative approach which is much, much better than this traditional approach which they had been doing? So that is why it is very important to know the first go-to solution of the company, and then how you can build on it, innovate it, create something new for the company which no one has ever done. That is a value add you can do as an MBA. So keep this in mind. Now, some of the key points to follow here, which are very, very important. Weekly planner, as I've said, keep noting everything that you have been doing. Keep your mentor in loop throughout emails. A very important thing. A lot of people take stress in saying that, oh, I am getting a lot of scolding from my mentor. I don't think I'm going to get a PPO or a PPI. Guys, don't worry about that. A lot of people have strict mentors, but they end up impressing them. So take it as a challenge. It's just 2 months time that you have to, create a good impression on your mentor. Make sure that you are not dismayed or disappointed by any of these thoughts. And even if you get a PPO or not, whatever you learn during these 2 months will provide you a value even after MBA and even during your final placements. So keep this focus of learning in mind and not the PPO. Get out of your comfort zone. So this is very important. If you feel that telephonic interview is very comfortable, don't do it. In my case, I have even taken some interviews in McDonald's and malls wherein people are just waiting for their orders. They have some 10-15 minutes in hand, and I would go them and show them the video of the ad, and I'll take their response. I used to be very awkward because some of the people would just leave and look at me like I'm there to waste their time. So all of these things will also happen with you. People will not bear you on the calls. Why will they give you 5 minutes of the time? But you have to keep up the persistence. You have to be at it till you get what you want. So get out of your comfort zone. Do not belittle yourself. Do not doubt yourself. There will be lows. There will be days when your mentor is not, let's say, even giving you time to meet, because obviously he has his own set of responsibilities to do apart from managing you as an intern. So don't expect that you'll get all the attention of your boss. Whatever time you are setting, make sure you are ready with something constructive to discuss during the time your mentor has given you. Never hesitate to ask questions. So you don't even realize that whatever question you ask might trigger some discussion with your mentor, which will give you insights for your project. And it's not just that you have to ask questions to your mentor. Ask questions to anyone who is related to you, related to your project. Your buddies, people who have earlier worked on the project, people who, let's say, have not worked but they have an opinion about your project. Always ask these people and reach out to them. And like I've said, find an informal mentor to discuss all your problems, all your emotions, whatever you are going through, and seek help. Now, here are some important videos which you can also find in the description of the video. Make sure you watch them because they're going to help you during your internships. And lastly, this is what I want for you guys. I want you to achieve whatever you are aiming for, which is a PPO, but without getting stressed out. So that was it from my end, guys, for this video. More on how you can plan your second month in the next part. If you have any questions about summer internships, mention them in the comment section and I'll reply to every one of them. You can also join my Telegram groups wherein I share important information on job and internship opportunities. All the best, and I know you're going to rock it.